Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be recapping day one of free agency for all teams. Some teams I want to be shorter on. I might not tell you about them at all if they didn't make any notable signings. Like the Bills, they didn't do many more notable signings. Josh Palmer, 3 years, $36 million. Not a big name. He's good. That's a good depth piece at receiver for the Bills. He's probably not going to start, but maybe eventually when he gets rolling, he'll get some more reps. Josh Allen should make him a lot better because he's a great deep threat. So I like that signing. $12 million a year is a little much. The Dolphins, they signed Zach Wilson on a 1-year deal. Not much to say about that. It's back quarterback. We don't know how much money. James Daniels, 3 years, $24 million. The Dolphins lost a lot of people this free agency, but I like that signing. It's only $8 million, not too much money, and 3 years. I just like that a lot for the Dolphins. They needed linemen, and they got that. Now the Patriots. Day one, they did a lot, so I'm just going to recap the whole thing. Matt Collins, 2 years, $8.4 million. That's okay, whatever. Then Morgan Moses, 3 years, $24 million. I don't love the 3 years. He's like 36 years old. He's probably not going to play through all of that. But $8 million a year is a great valuation per year basis. But I don't like the 3 years. Now, Harold Landry on a 3-year, $43 million deal. It's way too much money. He got cut from the Titans because he was about probably $15 million, and they signed him for $15 million. But they need to spend money, and the last time he played great was with Mike Vrabel. So I don't hate that. And now for the big two. Milton Williams, 4-year, $104 million. They overpaid a little bit. $26 million a year for Milton Williams isn't the best. He was like the third string defensive tackle on the Eagles. But he's a very good free agent and has improved the Patriots a lot. Same thing with Carlton Davis. He's a very good free agent, but $20 million a year, 3 years, $60 for a corner, don't love it. But overall, their free agency was okay. This was mainly just to get some players because they have like no one. And now the Jets, they didn't do much. They signed Justin Fields for a 2-year, $40 million. I like that for Justin Fields. He gets $20 million for the next 2 years to play with the Garrett Wilson. I don't love it for the Jets though, because $20 million a year is a lot. I get he has some potential, but I don't think he's gonna hit it. So I'm not mad at it because what do you expect? It's a quarterback. They're gonna get overpaid. So I don't hate it, but I don't love it. And now Brandon Stevens from the Ravens signed there, 3 years, $36 million. So like $12 million a year. That's way too much money for a corner who's like a number 2 at best, and he's a mid at that. So, but you need another corner because you let DJ Reed go. But I would rather just pay DJ Reed $16 million, go for extra $4 million, and get a way better player. So the Jets, I didn't love their offseason. So this is how free agency day one. They could have a banger draft and a banger day 2 and 3. Ravens didn't do anything. They just re-signed people. The Bengals, they didn't do anything either, really. Just a bunch of re-signings. And they signed Omen Burks for 2 years, $5 million, and TJ Slaton, 2 years, $15 million. So it's okay. I want them to do more day 2, get more defenders, because their defense was terrible. The Browns, once again, traded for Kenny Pickett. Whatever, it's a backup quarterback. If he starts, it's not terrible for them. Steelers, same thing. They didn't sign many people. Malik Harrison, 2 years, $10 million. They signed Donald Parham Jr. and traded for DK Metcalf. But this is all about signings. So, with day 1, they didn't do much, but they'll probably do more day 2. I like the defensive lineman signing for $5 million. Malik Harrison's a great player. He was from the Ravens. Got him from a divisional rival. I like that. Now the Texans, they got Berrios for 1 year, $2 million. Christian Kirk, that's not a signing. Sheldon Rankins, they signed for $7 million for 1 year. Don't hate it. Justin Watson, Derek Burnett, Darren Taylor, one of them for $5 million. Derek Burnett, Darren Taylor for $5 million. So it's not crazy bad. I don't hate it. but you expect them to do more after last season was very disappointing. So it's an okay free agency. They didn't do much day one, maybe more day two, day three. The Colts on just day one, they signed Tre'Davious Ward for a 3-year, $60 million. I like this because he was the best corner in free agency, and Carlton Davis got $20 million a year. So Tre'Davious Ward getting $20 million a year isn't crazy. So I like this signing for the Colts. And they also got Cam Byron. I don't know. I don't even know how to say his name, but he was a safety for the Vikings last season. He got 4 years, $60 million, 15 per year. I don't hate it. Just get that secondary a lot better. Just improve that defense. I hope day two they get more pieces, but day one they were fine. Dyami Brown signed with the Jags, 1 year, $10 million. That's basically just the playoff run. He didn't do much other than that, so I don't love it, but maybe he has something in the tank. I guess they signed Eric Murray for 3 years, $22 million, not very notable. Robert Hennessy, 3 years, $21 million. They didn't do much other stuff that was notable. Jordan Lewis, 3 years, $30 million, 10 a year. That's terrible for a nickel cornerback only. And they signed Nick Mullins as a backup, 2 years, 6.5. Now the Titans agreed Dan Moore to a 4-year, $82 million deal. I know these tackles are getting overpaid, but that's insane. For Dan Moore, who is an average tackle, maybe a little above average, getting paid $20.5 million a year. Titans have the cap, so I guess they wanted to use it. And now, Sebastian Joseph Day, a 1 year. Oh, he was signed, never mind. Cody Barton, 3 year, $21 million. $7 million a year for an okay linebacker. It is what it is. They didn't do much. I give them okay day one. Now the Broncos, they signed Dre Greenlaw, which was a big signing. I like that for them. It was only $11.5 million a year, which is because of his injury concerns, which they're big. But if he can not get injured and play, he's a very good linebacker. And same as the Niners safety, Taluna Huafunga, I think I say his name close. He signed a 3-year, $45 million deal. I don't hate it. It's $15 million a year. It's probably about where his value is. He only had one great stretch, so you hope it wasn't just a flash in the pan. But the Broncos defense got better, but now they have to improve their offense on day two. The Chiefs, they made a bunch of moves. Elijah Mitchell, they signed to get another running back in there just in case Isaiah Pacheco gets injured. That's re-signing. Jalen Moore, 2 years, $30 million. I like that. I know he was a backup for the Niners, but he has good potential, and it's only a 2-year deal. So worst case, you have a terrible contract for 2 years if he's just a backup. But they needed tackles, so desperation, that's how you get a signing like that. Now the Raiders, they signed Alex Cappa, 2 years, $11 million, about 5.5 a year. Don't hate it. Okay, signing. They signed Jeremy Chin, 2 years, $16 million, 8 a year. Don't hate it. They did a bunch of small moves and nothing else too notable. But those are 2 moves that were okay. I mean, Malcolm Koonce, he isn't a big player. I know he's returning, but 1 year, $12 million is crazy. You probably could draft a guy who's at least 50% or pay someone like Darrell Taylor who has more potential. And the Raiders aren't win now, even though they're trying to be. Now, good thing I did this later because Najee Harris signed a 1-year, $9.25 million deal with the Chargers. I like this for Najee Harris because the Chargers are going to try to run the ball and run the ball a lot. Najee Harris isn't the best finesse back, but he can run through people, and he's a good power back, and I like that for the Chargers. Now, didn't do much else. They signed Dante Jackson to a 2-year, $13 million. They need another corner, and they got that after losing a few guys. Now, Elijah Molden, probably going to play safety. They have it as corner. 3 years, 18 million. So about 6 a year. Don't hate it for a safety or corner, whatever he plays. Now the Dallas Cowboys. They didn't do much at all. They signed Javonte Williams 1 year, $3 million. Whatever move. Now my New York Giants. They did a few more things later in the evening. They signed James Hudson, 2 years, $12 million. Could be $16 million. I don't love it. He's an okay backup tackle, but paying him $6 million a year, it's a little pricey in my opinion, but tackles, as we could see, are going for a lot of money right now. So, it is what it is. Roy Robertson Harris signed a 2-year, $9 million code to 10. I like that a lot for the Giants. They get a lot better at defensive line, which we know they need that next to Dexter Lawrence. So I like that for the Giants. So 2 years is fine. So yeah, I like that signing. And then Paulson Adebo. This thing's saying $36 million. I'm pretty sure it's 54. I don't love it for 54, but he's a great corner and we badly need a number 2. So we fill a few holes on defense, and now we need a guard. Unless if James Hudson's going to switch to guard, which could be their plan. The Eagles, they did nothing new. The Commanders, they traded for Lomi Tunsil, but that's not a signing. I don't hate it. Javon Kimmel, they signed 3 years, $45 million. Don't love it. I actually hate that a lot. Because $15 million for a guy who hasn't shown much potential. He has potential, but he hasn't shown much on the field. So he's not a good run defender. You need run defense, so I hate it. That's a terrible signing in my opinion. They should have just kept Jonathan Allen and paid him an extra $5 million, which is probably what his value is. But it is what it is. The Commanders made a few trades that were very good. Now the Bears, they signed Drew Dalman, 3 years, $42 million. I like that signing a lot. Seeing how these other linemen going, high value. Center isn't usually as high value as tackle and guard. And one of the best centers in the NFL, top 5, is only getting paid $14 million a year for 3 years. I like that. Then this is a bad signing. Deo Udendegbo, I think how you say his name. 3 years, $48 million, $16 million a year. I know edge rushers go for a lot, but damn, he has potential, but I don't know if I love it because he's mid. Like he's okay. He was okay for the Colts. He had a good season last year, and now he's getting overpaid. I don't think it's gonna be a good signing for the Colts. Now, Grady Jarrett, 3 year, $43 million. I kind of like that. The year's a little much because he's showing regression, but the value and you have money, so might as well pay a guy who can be a great run defender and who's only like $12 million a year. I like that signing a lot for the Bears for $14 million a year, I should say. Marcus Davenport, that's re-signing. The Lions signed DJ Reed too. They signed him $16 million over 3 years. They signed $48 million. I think 3 years, $48 million, which it's great value. DJ Reed was either the best or the second best corner in the market. You got him for less than the Giants got Paulson Adebo and less than Carlton Davis and Tre'Davious Ward, but Tre'Davious Ward I think is better. So I like that a lot for the Lions, and day 1 of free agency, they're already winning and already in position of need. Now the Packers, they signed Aaron Banks to a 4-year, $77 million deal. I don't love it. He was a good player. All these players are getting overpaid, this lineman, so I'm not shocked. But he's probably more in like the 15 at most. I would say like $12 million range. But he's a good guard, and he's going to protect Jordan Love. And the Packers need a guard. And they have money to spend, so don't hate it. But the one I do like is Nate Hobbs for 4 years, $48 million. So what is that, 12 a year? Not bad, 12 a year for Nate Hobbs. who might be a number one if you get rid of Jair. Don't know what they're doing with Jair yet, but I like Nate Hobbs for 4 years, $48 million, only $16 million guaranteed. So the contract you can easily get out of if he's bad in like 2 years for no dead money, pretty much. So yeah, I like this free agency for the Packers. Oh, it's okay. Now the Vikings, they signed Ryan Kelly. Pretty much all they did of importance. 2 years, $18 million, $9 million a year. I like it. They needed a center, and they got a good center in Ryan Kelly. Not an exciting name, so let's move on. The Falcons didn't do anything. The Panthers signed Hygiel Wharton. Don't know how to say his name. He was from the Chiefs. He's going to the Panthers. 3 years, $54 million a year. I don't love it. That's $18 million a year for a guy who had one breakout season. So if he plays up to that, if he gets better, I like the deal. If he stays the same, I don't like the deal. So I don't love it for the Panthers. But they also signed Bobby Brown, 3 years, $21 million. I don't hate it. He can be an okay nose tackle for them. And they need defense, so that's why they're overpaying for these mid-defensive tackles. And they signed Patrick Jones to a 2-year, $20 million, $10 a year. I don't hate it. And they signed Trevon Moehrig, 3 years, $51 million. It's a bit pricey, but he's a very good safety. So yeah, that's like 17 a year. Now, the Saints didn't do anything. That's new. The Bucks signed Hassan Reddick, which I like it. 1 year, $14 million deal. I think Hassan Reddick can be a good edge rusher for them. They needed it bad because I think they cut Shaq Barrett. So yeah. And I think he could still play better than what he did for the Jets, but he could just be washed. Would be a bad deal then. Okay, now the Cardinals. Kevin Beachum. Oh no, that's a re-signing. They didn't do much, but they did sign Josh Sweat for 4 years, $76 million, $19 a year. I love that for the Cardinals. They need a edge rusher. He's familiar with the scheme because he played with Jonathan Gannon, obviously. So yeah, I like that a lot for Josh Sweat and the Cardinals. They need edge and they got edge, and they re-signed a few people. Now, the Rams, they signed Devontae Adams yesterday, 2 years, $46 million. That wasn't today, though. Poona Ford, signing 3 years, $29.6 million. Around $9 million, that's probably what his value is. I don't hate it. And I like that deal for the Rams. Getting a good defensive lineman, but you need help on the run defense. And you got it. Now, the Niners, they didn't do much. They lost a lot of players, though. But they signed Luke Farrell, 3 years, $20 million, a backup tight end. Don't know why. And now the last team, the Seahawks. This is the biggest signing though. Sam Darnold, 3 years, $100 million, $30 million a year. I like it for the Seahawks. They needed a quarterback after trading Geno Smith, and mainly just like the value. $33.333 million for a guy who we know can play good if the situation is right. Is it right in Seattle? I don't know. They have one receiver, a terrible offensive line, but a good 2 running backs. So, I don't know. But I think Sam Darnold can play better than Geno Smith and has a chance to be better. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. And as always, have a great day.